Hey everyone, I hope you're all having an amazing day. I've been thinking a ton about the current storyline, and I wanted to have a discussion on what exactly will happen with Wano at the end of the arc and what the fate of the country looks like. This is going to be a two-part video with the second half releasing next week. For today, I want to discuss the current state of Wano, what we know, the history, and piecing together the puzzle that is quite literally Wano. Not only will this be a discussion video, but also a theory video. With all that being said, grab your tinfoil hats, some snacks and soda, and let's dive in. As we are gearing up for this huge war, we are also left to think and speculate on what is going to happen with the state of Wano after the battle, or what the purpose of this arc truly can be. Will everything that is supposed to happen to Wano happen in this arc, or spill out into other arcs at the end of the series? Why opening Wano's borders will make a difference in the mystery of Laugh Tale and the One Piece. Luffy is going to fight Kaido and the Beast Pirates to liberate the country of Wano. But what we heard from the history and present story, Wano has greater significance not only to this arc, but seemingly the end of the series. So what do we know about Wano, and also other facts of the story? In Zou, we learn that there is in fact a poneglyph hiding in the whale tree where they kept Raizo safe along with the Kozuki crest. We learned the Kozukis were stonemasons and created the poneglyphs. We learned that they wanted to open Wano's borders and later found out that Odin learned something at Laugh Tale to make him realize they need to open the borders of Wano. We learned that Momo could understand and command Zunisha. We found out through Odin's flashback that the Kozuki clan and Minks were bonded as family, and the Kozuki crest existed in the whale tree many years before Inu and Neku even knew Odin. Odin mentioned that his father told him about the Mink tribe when Inu and Neku mentioned being like family to their clan. We learned that Wano has been an isolated country well before it was corrupted by Kaido and Orochi. We learned about the maps of Wano, not only how it is divided up, but how it's connected and how topography-wise, meaning elevation, how it sits. Alright, now let's dissect this and start to put the pieces together. First off, I know a lot of people have been creating theories about this, and I will mention some ideas that have already been thrown around and talked about. But what I am going to do is put a lot of those theories and piece them all together to match them up. One thing that is a huge topic in Wano and apparently has significance is the ancient giant race. Recently, we learned that the ancient giants were being recreated by the government and by Vegapunk. We also know Caesar was trying to create giants himself at Punk Hazard. Now, the giants seem to not be the brightest, but they are all strength and brawn, as we can obviously tell. Maybe in the Void Century, the ancient giants had some significance to the ancient kingdom. I know a lot of people have already put this together, but I 100% agree with this. Oars was once known as the continent polar. At the time, I'm sure everyone thought of it as an epithet that was meant to display how massive he is, but once we see the map of Wano and find out about the crazy weather patterns, we realize maybe the ancient giant race could actually move continents. Wano has beautiful mountains where the flower capital is located, just like the Mount Fuji in our world's Japan. You have the wasteland of Udon, which was once a lush forest before the fight between the Beast Pirates and Odin's men. You have the icy snow-filled land of Ringo. Hakamai is the autumn part with fall leaves falling from the trees. Kibi is a wasteland of sorts. Kuri is the most interesting. It has some desert wasteland landscapes, most likely due to the fact the water and animals are poisonous due to the factories. Kuri also has Amigasa village, which is within a bamboo forest. Wano has it all. And the map shows the land like it is literally broken into pieces and pretty much confirmed because it is connected by bridges. So the first piece of the puzzle I'm going with is the idea that Ors, or another ancient giant, moved all these islands to surround what was once a single island of Wano, most likely the land that has the flower capital, which makes sense because the flower capital is in the middle of the island. We also have the fact that Onigashima is made literally out of a giant skull, which resembles an ancient giant. The other unique feature about the land of Wano is that it is lifted up well above the ocean surface. Real quick, imagine Ors and the other ancient giants being like little kids. Not that difficult to picture considering how they are portrayed, somewhat being ignorant and childish. But imagine them as children pulling something they built in the sand towards them. When they do that, it builds up on a mound and lifts it up above the original level the sand was currently at. By doing so with the continents, that's probably exactly what happened. They were pulling the islands, and by dragging them, it rose them above sea level on mountains. That indeed would isolate Wano beyond having guarded borders and being illegal to leave. It isolates them physically as well. Now, Odin's dream was never fulfilled. At his execution, he announced that if he survived, he would like to open the borders of Wano. He mentions that the isolation was due to protecting the country. So let's say the ancient giant race was part of the ancient kingdom in the Void Century. My guess is they were the brute force and protectors. They were given borders to protect. They were given orders to protect Wano from a particular incident that was going to happen. By pulling the continents to Wano, it lifted it above the sea and was protected by the threat. Now the question is why? Since we know that Wano has connections with the ancient kingdom and created the poneglyphs, we can assume that Wano is so important to the Void Century and ancient kingdom that the destruction of the country would be detrimental to the state of the world and ushering in the dawn. Wano has so much more significance that we will ever begin to imagine. The survival of Wano is crucial to the ending of the story and the decision they will have to make on Laugh Tale. Because whoever had the time fruit during that time, they sent Joy Boy, or whoever it was, 800 years into the future. The person with the fruit then died, and then the fruit was eaten by Toki. By Odin and Roger's calculations, that will be 20 years from when they found the One Piece. And they even said they were too early. They assumed a huge war will brew at that time. Maybe not only Joy Boy, but an army will be sent to the future. The point is, the country of Wano needs to be open within that time so that whoever is traveling through time, possibly Joy Boy, they will reach the location of Old Wano when it was lowered into the sea and a normal island. How do we know that? Because where did the scabbards appear when they were shot into the future 20 years? They appeared at the ruins of Odin's castle, the exact location they were when they were sent to the future. So Wano has to be the same place and position. So if whoever is coming from 800 years ago arrives at Wano, it has to be at the same place and position in order for them to return safely. Now, if we take all that into consideration, we have to think that by Odin wanting to open up the borders and stop the isolation, that would have to mean that Wano would have to be lowered into the sea and easily accessed by the rest of the world. But wouldn't that have to bring some kind of destruction? In theory, yes. So the question is how? Is Kaido going to go haywire and start rampaging through Wano to destroy the country? Is Luffy going to fight Kaido and by doing so create a huge destruction wherein the island is lowered into the sea? It could absolutely be Luffy liberating the country not only by defeating Kaido, but at the same time lowering the continent into the sea. Or there could be another way entirely that Wano could be sunk into the sea. I have an idea for that, but you will have to see what that conclusion is next week with part 2. Thank you all for supporting my channel. Please continue supporting it by liking my video and subscribing to the channel. Also, if you think about it, please share these videos around and let's try to gain some traction within this One Piece community. Thank you all so much. Be kind to one another. See ya.